Hello, I'm Xander from Terrytown, and welcome to your Vintage Cruiser 19 MBS. I'm going to start right up front here with a light, just in case you need to hook up at night. You have an up and down for your power tongue jack here. If your power tongue jack ever electrically goes out, you are able to insert a tool right underneath this black tab here and actually manually override it. So if it ever electrically goes out, you can do it yourself. Coming back to your propane tanks, you actually have a reader right here. It's kind of hard to see if the camera will flip, but this is going to be your reader, and you can choose which tank you want to read with this switch here. It has a little arrow on it, so it's pointing this way. Open it up, that'll turn green, and then of course you can close it, switch to the other one, open that one up, and then that will turn green as well. But once one runs out, it'll turn red. Just flip it to the next one and start to use this one. Battery here. Moving on, this is going to be your storage here. Right in here, this is just going to be an excess hose for your outside shower port, which I'll get to in just a minute. It's over there. Right inside of here, this is going to be your fresh tank. So it's just going to be a gravity fill. You can insert a hose there and fill it up. All it is just a tank inside your system or inside your camper. So if you're going out to the middle of nowhere, you can still have running water while you're not hooked up to city connection. All you gotta do is fill this up, and while you're out there, turn on your water pump, which I'll show you how to inside, and then that'll take this water and push it through your lines. Here's the outside spray port there, and your city water connection. So for the city water connection, when you get to a campground, all you do is put that campground hose into here, and then that'll then give you running water. And that will just put water through your lines. Moving on to your wheels, this little green cap here indicates that your tires are going to be filled with nitrogen. You are able to fill it with regular air. It doesn't inflate or deflate with temperature change. This is the back of your fridge if you ever need to access it. And this is supposed to be here, so just letting you know it's not broken. That's just for some of the condensation to leak out. This is going to be your furnace exhaust. So when your furnace is on, all the excess heat will kick out of here, and then this will start to heat up. So if you have any little kids or someone who doesn't know, just tell them do not touch this or get close while the heat is on, because they will get burned. Going down to your sewer connection here, this is going to be your black tank flush. So your black tank is actually going to be your toilet water. So right down here, your black tank is going to be this right side here. So all you do is pull that, it'll open up, start to drain all the toilet water, so all the toilet paper and whatnot. Leave that open, insert a hose inside of here, and then turn it on. That pressurized hose will then activate a sprinkler or a flush inside that black tank and help kind of flush everything that may have gotten stuck out. Once you're done with that, take the hose out, close this back up, and then open your gray tank here. Open that up, and that's just going to be like your sink and shower. I recommend doing the gray tank last, just so when you do empty everything out, it gives it just one last little rinse, because that's the cleanest water out of the two. So you can go ahead and put your hands back on it. Cable and satellite input there. Here's going to be your camp power or shore power here. You just insert it and twist, and then you can tighten it up just like that. Right back here, this is going to be your water heater. So fold this down. It has water in it still, so I'm not going to open this up, but you insert this little cap here on your spout, tighten it down. If you want it real tight, use a 1 1/16 socket to tighten that down. Once this is tightened down, go ahead on the inside, turn on the hot side of the faucet, and then that faucet will sputter for a little bit. That's just all the air getting pushed out of your tank. Once you have a steady flow, then you can go ahead and turn on this, and then, which is on the inside, I'll show you that. Then you can use the water heater. To empty it, all you do is pull this pressure release. You can hear it kind of hiss out. Once it's done hissing, go ahead, take your socket, pull this out, or unscrew it, and then the water will just drain right out of this port here. is prepped for a backup camera. So if you do decide to purchase one, it'll be installed right there. Moving back here, you're gonna have your LP Quick Connect. So when you open that up, that actually releases propane. So if you do install like a griddle or something along the lines, you can still get propane usage from that. You're gonna have your outside speakers there. 110 outlet and cable antenna, just in case you do have a TV outside. TV bracket location. And then for your stairs, make sure your door is as open as it can get. Otherwise this will actually scrape the side of your door. As you just lift up. Kind of twist this to make sure, twist and push to make sure these little pieces are behind the frame so they don't move. If you ever need to move the legs, just go ahead, press that in, and then go ahead and move them up or down. The reason why I say that, the reason you do twist and pull, you want to make sure it's completely flush on either side. So if you do go to slam your door, it doesn't end up catching on anything lifted and scrape or dent the bottom of your door. And then this will be your hitch. So when you get here, your salesman will help with that. You can kind of see that little crank there. That goes on your stabilizer jacks. And that is also the same tool that will go into that to crank down if that ever electrically goes out. And then your starter kit here, your sewer hose is kind of back there. I do recommend getting a indestructible one because if that, that's, well, not indestructible. And the super hose is, of course, the last thing you want to break and start leaking. So I just recommend getting one of those. Here's your 50 to 110 adapter. And then this is gonna be your drinking hose right here. If you do decide to get a solar panel, just make sure you get it with that input there. And then it should be all good. Coming to the inside, this is going to be your electronic panel. Starting off with this little switch here. Activates the blue lights right on top. And then ceiling lights, exterior lights, which it's going to be these little orange ones. Awning light. Step lights, which you're not gonna be able to see because it's daytime, but there's a light just underneath there. And then your water pump. This is that pump when you do fill up your fresh tank. You can turn this on and use that while you're out in the middle of nowhere. Gas and electric portion to your water heater. You can turn both on. I just highly recommend doing the electric if you're plugged into shore power because you don't want to waste your gas portion. Awning, I'm just gonna quick extend this. Make sure your door is in just a tad because if it's fully out, it'll actually stop the awning from extending. You know you're gonna be fully extended when the little excess flap kind of falls down and you can see the gray bar that's sitting on right behind it. So there's the flap and there's the gray bar behind it. You do not want to keep reeling in or reeling out once you see that flap because it will actually reel in the opposite way and end up breaking, and that of course is the last thing you want to happen. All right, moving on. You're gonna have your readers here. So battery reader, fresh tank reader, right there, black tank, and then gray tank. Moving on around the corner here. Coming to your stereo system. So of course you can choose between the different channels like that.
I'm not going to be playing it.
And then you can do AM, FM radios. You can go between the mode, Bluetooth, aux, AV, and then speakers. So you can choose between the speaker zones. So for example, A is inside, B is gonna be outside, and then moving on to mute. So if you put these back on, click mute, you can mute all. Otherwise, you can set alarms, choose between the channels like this way. You can tap this to do the equalizer, so bass, treble, balance, fade, and then you can go back to volume, insert discs, and then you can eject them there as well, and go to menu, whatnot. Aux input, and then you also have a USB over there. Moving to your thermostat here, for this you do want to have propane on, otherwise you just kind of turn this on and then push it to the left. It'll click and you can hear it turn on. And we'll turn it off. And for also the small lights around the place, all you do is just click. Moving into your bathroom, starting right up top, you are going to have this fan here, which you can open up. And choose the power here. You can go forward, bring it in, or reverse it and bring it out. Went one too far. And then for your toilet, it's just a foot flush. You're going to need toilet solution along with RV grade toilet paper. So the toilet paper helps break down easier, so you don't have to worry about clogging, anything like that. It just helps tear down easier. And then for the solution, it helps break down solids and smells. For the shower, you just pull that apart and open it up. Moving to your fridge, the coolness is going to be on the right there. You just lift that little white piece up or down, just like this. You move it up, and then you can bring it back down as well. And then for your freezer, press the turn on, it'll beep and it'll click auto. So it's looking for what's best for it. So what it means by that is if you're plugged in a shore power, it'll automatically go to electric. And if you leave it out, it'll automatically go to gas. So, and use your propane. So if you're hooked up, I just recommend doing the electric just because it's gonna be easier and it's not gonna waste your propane. TV bracket here, all the inputs you need for it, antenna outlets, satellite cable, all that. Then down here, you're going to have your breakers and fuses. So it's all gonna be labeled just like a house. And then for your fuses, I do recommend bringing extra. It's just a personal recommendation. You can pick them up at any AutoZone, like any auto parts store along the lines of that. Storage, you got moving shelves in there. Moving to your microwave, you type in, start, open up. There we go. For your stove and oven, open that up, press the turn on, push, turn, and then you spark right to ignite. I do have the propane off, so it's not going to run at the moment. You just press, turn, ignite. And you only want to turn to the right, because if you turn to the left and try to ignite, it will actually snap off. It will actually snap off. For your oven, you press, turn to the pilot symbol, and spark, 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 and then eventually it'll light. Don't worry, it's not going to be broken. It just takes a long time to actually get going. Happens with all of them. Once you do finally get a small flame in the back of your oven, which will be right, it's kind of hard to see right back there. Once you do get a small flame, then you can go ahead and turn to your temperature as needed. What I do recommend for getting that going is to light all three of these. To get the gas starting to go through the system, start to purge it and whatnot. And then once you do think you have enough gas going through, then go ahead and turn on the pilot, get it going, and then spark until there's a flame. Moving on to your keys. Purple is going to be for your main doors, and then the grays are going to be for your baggage doors. And then last but not least, for your bed, this is just a little jackknife, so you just kind of lift up, get your hand under there, and then it'll fold automatically. Go to either side. And all you do is just unplug or unlatch that, fold this down, and then you take your bed and then fold it over and then, you know, put sheets on it, whatever you'd like. All plugged up like that. To turn these lights on, there's just a little power button behind it, little blue lights, little reading lights. And for this one, you just tap. To put this back, you just lift up, kind of push in, give a little bit of pressure while you're lifting up, and it'll slowly slide back into place. And you can turn on these lights here by this little switch here. Oh, one more thing is this little piece here. That little green light that box is going to be your carbon monoxide detector. So that green light always indicates that it's on. And the downside about that, well, it's a good thing, but also a bad thing at the same time, is that it's always running as a safety feature. So that's all good until you realize that if you turn it off or, you know, unplug your camper or anything like that, it'll actually draw power from your battery still. So what I do recommend is if you're gonna leave your camper for about 3 to 4 days, just go ahead, disconnect the negative end of your battery, and then this will finally die. Otherwise, that has been your vintage orientation, and I hope you enjoy.